if they lie on a background check form, prosecuting them and putting them in jail before they endanger the rights and the lives of others.
I'm sorry, Senator, last question. You mentioned keeping the guns out of criminals and keeping the guns out of mentally deranged hands. Do you have any initial discussions on what that legislation might look like?
Yes, in 2013 I introduced legislation along with Senator Chuck Grassley. It's called the Grassley-Cruz legislation. It focused on strengthening back the federal background check system, ensuring that felony convictions are in that system. Far too many federal and state felonies are not included in that system because they haven't been reported. We need to make sure that all the felonies are included in that system, and we need to prosecute felons and fugitives who lie on the background check system, put them in jail before they endanger the lives of others. In 2019, earlier this year, I reintroduced Grassley-Cruz. When the Senate comes back, we need to pass Grassley-Cruz so that we target violent criminals. And an important component of Grassley-Cruz also is protecting our schools and devoting more resources to hardening our schools, making our schools safer. Too many of these we've seen, these shootings have occurred in schools, in particular the Santa Fe school outside of Houston. We saw a deranged murderer targeting our kids. The best way to keep schools safe is more armed police officers on campus able to stop someone who threatens to commit violence against our kids. We need to focus on solutions that work. And I'll say West Texas is a community that understands that. Focus on what works. Don't try to exploit an event simply to violate the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens. That's the response. And I hope we can come together united in preventing violent crime. I hope we can see some unity. This is a time with a lot of division, a lot of anger, and we ought to be able to come together and be united as one. I know West Texas can, and I'm hopeful the whole state of Texas and the entire country can come together and even when there is political discord, find unity and cooperation behind keeping our communities safe and protecting the constitutional rights of law-abiding Americans.
Are red flag laws included in that legislation?
You know, red flag laws are one of the solutions that has been discussed. I think those are appropriately considered at the state level, not the federal level. And so I think they're one of the tools that can be considered. But I think it's critically important that we protect due process, that there be mechanisms, that there be evidentiary standards, that there the ability to cross-examine witnesses and to contest the evidence. And we've seen different states that have used red flag laws as a potential tool. If you have someone who is mentally ill and dangerous and a threat to themselves or others, a red flag law can be one of the tools a state can consider, but I think it's critically important that we protect due process. And that's why I think it needs to be at the state level if it's going to go forward, rather than a federal one-size-fits-all solution for the country.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
And that was Senator Ted Cruz live at UTPB, where Big Two's Jake Eichstedt was there covering this press conference. I'm going to give you a quick recap of what's going on in our extended coverage of what Senator Cruz just said. So we're looking at starting off in the beginning. He was saying that we are grieving here in the Odessa Midland area, but we are coming together, and he has seen that as well. But mainly he talked about his Grassley-Cruz law that he wanted to pass. Now, what this would do, and he said that he did pass it before in 2013. He tried to, excuse me, I apologize. He tried to pass it in 2013. It stalled in the Senate with 52 votes. It was a filibuster because they wanted 60 votes. And he said that there was a lot of people that were interested in this in regards to what he experienced. But what this Grassley-Cruz would do is it would stop local law enforcement, make sure that they had all of the background in the database of each federal conviction, any type of conviction. And we're also seeing more information coming in about red flag laws was also addressed as well. So we will continue to break down this conference even more. We'll put it up on our website at yourbasin.com. But again, that was Senator Cruz at the UTPB press conference, giving more information about what's going on and his take on this weekend's mass shooting. Again, please stay with us because we will continue following this investigation. But for right now, thank you for joining our extended coverage. I'm Amanda Mason. For Big 2 News, we are Basin Trusted, Basin Proud.